Okay, so personal branding. You have heard this term absolutely everywhere, right? It's one of those huge buzzwords that makes it sound like we all need to be our own personal marketing genius. But what if the real power of this idea has nothing to do with marketing and everything to do with, well, with just figuring yourself out? Let's dive in and really unpack what it means to treat yourself as a brand. The whole idea of having a personal brand is super appealing, isn't it? It just feels so modern, so powerful, like you're in the driver's seat of your own story. It's a concept that's really hooked a lot of us, and honestly, for a pretty simple and very human reason. Because, come on, let's be real. It feels kind of good to say this to yourself, doesn't it? It adds this layer of significance, of being intentional. It's like a statement that says, hey, I am curated, I am important. It's just an instant little boost for the ego. Okay, but once that little ego boost wears off, what are you actually left with? Is the whole point just to feel a little bit special, or is there a deeper, more practical purpose hiding behind all the hype? This piece of advice, this really gets to the heart of the whole thing. The idea of being a brand, that's the part we want to hear. It's the shiny, cool packaging. But the real value, the thing we actually need from this whole concept, that's something completely different. And that's exactly what we're about to unwrap. So here's the big twist. Thinking of yourself as a brand, it's not actually about selling yourself to the world. It's a psychological tool. It's a mental trick, really, designed to help you step outside of yourself for just a moment and get a totally fresh perspective. It's all about putting yourself in the shoes of an observer. By framing yourself this way, you create this tiny bit of distance. And that distance makes it so much easier to tackle some of life's biggest, most fundamental questions without getting totally tangled up in your own emotions and biases. And all of a sudden, those terrifying late-night questions, they become more like a research project. The question, who am I, stops feeling like a crisis, and it starts feeling more like defining the brand's core mission, its non-negotiables. And then, what do I want? Well, that becomes the brand's objective. It lets you think strategically, to map out a clear goal without all the emotional static that usually clouds our thinking. And maybe the most powerful of all, what is mine and what is not? This becomes a way to finally draw your boundaries, to figure out what's truly part of you versus all the external noise you've just kind of picked up over the years. See, when you start answering these questions from that observer's point of view, you begin to see the patterns. You start to really understand your fundamental self, your unchanging truth. In the language of branding, you finally find your core. Okay, so we get the why now. It's a tool for self-discovery. So let's get to the how. How does this actually work? Well, it's a practical framework that rests on 3 incredibly simple pillars. Just 3. That's it. Forget some over-the-top, complicated 10-step plan. This is just about 3 foundational supports that hold the whole structure of your brand together. And here they are. Number 1, your core. That's your fundamental essence. Number 2, your products. This is just how you express that core and put it out into the world. And number 3, your media. That's the context or the channels where people actually see and experience your products. Now, to make this even clearer, there's a fantastic analogy we can borrow from the world of modern art. And it perfectly illustrates how these 3 pillars work together. It breaks down just like this. Your core, that is the artist's message, the main idea you want to get across. Your products, those are the medium, the painting, the song, the piece of code you write. And your media, well, that's the context, the gallery, or the Spotify playlist, or the website where the work is actually seen. Now, this right here is the most crucial part of all, your core. Think of it as your skeleton. It's rigid, it's stable, and it doesn't change. But all the attributes, the way you talk or dress or present your ideas, those are just like clothes. You can change them to fit the situation. You adapt your unchangeable skeleton to different contexts, but you never ever lose your fundamental structure. So after all this serious discussion about cores and skeletons, let's circle all the way back to where we started. The simple, maybe slightly egotistical fun of it all. Because there's a reason this idea is so appealing. And we're back to this, aren't we? It just feels good. It creates that feeling of being intentional, of being important. And you know what? That feeling can be a really powerful motivator. But what happens on those days when you don't quite believe it? What do you do when that little voice of imposter syndrome creeps in, and the whole idea of being a brand just feels, well, a little ridiculous? Turns out there's a wonderfully cheeky solution for that. Yep. If you really need to make it feel real, you could just make it legally official. Go through the process, get the actual paperwork. And there you have it. You'd have documentary proof. Because sometimes, in a world that just runs on paper and official stamps, maybe that's the ultimate confirmation you need to actually believe in yourself. A witty but surprising